Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for another extreme clean, declutter, and organize with me. I am cleaning and decluttering my house using the KonMari method to declutter items that no longer spark joy, and also using KonMari folding to help with organization in all of these areas that I am decluttering. I'll also share decluttering tips and organization tips just to help you guys out with your own home organization, decluttering projects, and general cleaning motivation. Now get your to-do list ready and let's get started. Today I'm just going to be starting with a quick declutter in this cabinet in my kitchen. I keep some baking dishes and mixing bowls here, and I actually knew ahead of time what it was that I wanted to declutter, so I knew that this would be a super quick transformation, and since I was lacking in motivation on this filming day, I thought that that would be the perfect thing to start with. So as you can see, I've just pulled everything out of here, and now I'm wiping down the insides of the cabinet really well with some Jaws cleaner and a microfiber towel, and then I'll also be wiping down the door of the cabinet before I move on to decluttering the items inside. Even though I knew ahead of time what I wanted to declutter, I still wanted to go ahead and follow the KonMari method and be sure to touch every single item and really assess if it sparks joy. So anything that is not being used or is incomplete and not a full set, I knew that wouldn't spark joy, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that and then rearrange things back into the cabinet. And the biggest reason I wanted to do this declutter is because I wanted that bottom shelf to go ahead and put all of my kitchen hand towels and dish rags in. So I'm going to be pulling all of those out of this drawer that they don't fit into and folding them all using the KonMari method of folding so that I can arrange them into the bottom drawer of that cabinet. While I am folding all of these dish towels, I wanted to give a huge shout out to my friend Missy from the channel Love Missy XO. She has recently come out with the most innovative concept for her channel, and honestly, she does this so often. She's so creative with her content, but she is doing a cook and clean with me every Monday that she is calling Magnolia Monday, where she's sharing a Joanna Gaines recipe and cleaning up after dinner, and I am just loving it. Aside from having an awesome YouTube channel, Missy is just a really great friend. She is always so sweet and supportive and always cheering me on, and you guys, she is not afraid to be her real authentic self, and I can totally appreciate that. So make sure you guys go check out her channel and let her know that I sent you. So here is the before shot of this cabinet and how I was just keeping my dish towels on the toaster oven because I didn't have any room for them beforehand. And then I will show you the after of the cabinet, and now I am so happy to finally have a place for all of my dish towels and to have minimized the clutter that was in this cabinet before. Here are all of the items that I just was not using and decided to go ahead and donate them. And now I'm going to move on into my bedroom, and I'm going to work on the very last drawer in my dresser that I haven't done yet. This is where I keep all of my shorts and skirts for summertime. So I'm going to pull everything out, wipe down the drawer, and then start sorting through it to decide what I'm going to keep and what I will be decluttering. When I was going through all of this, I had to be very realistic because I am one of those people that will hold on to things that don't fit me anymore, thinking that one day I will fit back into them. But let's be honest, it's been years since I fit into some of these clothes, so you're just going to see me picking up every single article of clothing, holding it up, really looking at it, deciding if I love it, how often I wear it, and does it spark joy. And if the answer is no, I'm going to get rid of it. Even all of these shorts that I've been holding on to, thinking that one day I'm going to fit back into them, they just do not spark joy for me. They spark anxiety, so they have got to go. Once I have sorted through everything and I have my keep pile and my donate pile, then I'm just going to go ahead and fold everything using the KonMari method of folding. And I do have to admit that for all of my shorts, they are a little bit short, so I only had to fold them over one time, but I'm just going to go ahead and do that, folding them so that they will stand up in the drawer and I'll be able to see everything that I have very easily, organize it super easily, and it'll just look very aesthetically pleasing when I finally put it back. Putting everything back into the drawer is my favorite part of using the KonMari method of folding. I know I am such a nerd, but there is just something about it that is so satisfying to see all of my clothing items standing up on their own and organized so nice and compact in such an aesthetically pleasing way. Okay guys, now I'm going to show you the before and afters, and look at how bad this drawer was before. I couldn't even pull it open. It was so packed, and now it is so nice and neat and decluttered and organized. I absolutely love it, and I'm so happy with this transformation. Here is everything that I'm donating, and so much of it is in great condition, so I'm going to leave the link to my Poshmark in the description box if you want to shop my closet. But now I'm moving on into my bathroom medicine cabinet, and you guys, clearly this is a whole hot mess. I have been putting off this project forever now. Literally for months and months I've been having it on my to-do list and then just moving it to a different day every time I come up to it because I just could not. But I'm finally going to tackle it today. I'm going to pull everything out of here and wipe it down really well like I do with all of my cabinets and drawers when I declutter, and then I'll start sorting through everything and deciding what I can keep, what I can declutter, and what is just trash. Once I've got everything inside and out of the cabinet wiped down, I'm just going to move on to decluttering through all of the items that I had jam-packed in there. And I just have this Target bag that I'm going to use to throw away anything that is trash. And there was honestly so much trash in here. There were a lot of containers that were just empty. They had barely any product or no product left in them anymore. So I don't know why I was trying to keep those jars in the medicine cabinet, but apparently I was just hoarding empty product jars. There was a ton of excess packaging and just a lot of things that I could cut down on and get rid of to really get all of the clutter out of that space. As you could see, even with everything that I was throwing away and the excess packaging that I was eliminating, there was still a whole ton of stuff that I had to keep that we do actively use and need, especially for my husband and all of his shaving items. He just has a lot of them. But I am going to show you how I ended up concealing some of those larger items and larger packaging so that it could just look a little better when I put everything back into the cabinet. This little bin ended up being a never-ending treasure chest. I swear I found so many things that I had been missing for the longest time, like all of my hair ties that were in here. I also found quite a bit of change at the bottom that I did put into both of my girls' piggy banks. And then I also found a crap ton of trash that I had just been collecting in there for who knows what reason. I swear this just made me feel so gross going through all of the stuff that I was keeping in this medicine cabinet and realizing exactly how much of it was trash. So if you guys have that same kind of issue where you just kind of shove receipts and different like packaging items and trash and tags and stuff in random places, I would appreciate it if you would leave that in the comment section so that I can know I am not alone. For the organization in this cabinet, I'm just going to try to stick with the items that I was already using to organize in there. I had run out of all of those packs of Target drawer organizers and I didn't want to go out and spend any additional money or leave the house for anything, so I'm just going to be scrubbing down all of these glass jars with a Clorox disinfectant wipe since they were a little dingy and dirty, and they are actually repurposed candle jars. And then I'm also going to be using some travel cosmetic bags that I was storing in there, and I'm going to use that to hold bigger items such as duplicate deodorants and shaving cream, things like that. I am going to use these glass jars to hold things like feminine products, hair ties, razors, cotton swabs, anything that comes in big, bulky excess packaging. If you have been around my channel for a while, then you know that one of my favorite things to declutter is excess packaging. I just think that it is so unnecessary and it takes up a ton of space, and even just doing this one simple task of taking things out of their big packaging and storing them into different containers can completely transform the look, feel, and functionality of any space. Now that I've got everything organized into different containers, it is time to try and put everything back into this cabinet. And when I was putting everything back in here, I did want to think about what might be aesthetically pleasing and look the least cluttered, but I also wanted to think of what was most practical and functional for how we use these items. So I'm just going to create a shelf for myself, a shelf for my husband, and then one at the very top with all of those excess items that I needed to store. Now that I've got everything where I like it, I'm going to show you the before shots and the afters, and you guys, I still can't believe this transformation. Look at this hot mess express that I had in this medicine cabinet before, and then look at how much I decluttered and just completely transformed the look and feel and functionality of this space. I am absolutely loving it, and I think this is probably one of my favorite transformations of the day. I had a whole ton of things that were just out of place, and then also an entire bag of trash that I took out of that cabinet. Seeing the before and after of my medicine cabinet and feeling so satisfied with it after I'd been putting it off for so long definitely motivated me to go to another task that I had been putting off for a long time, and that is our coat closet. You guys, it is just a complete disaster. There was so many clothing items that were just cluttering up this space, as well as just junk that I had been shoving in here. So I'm first going to start by going through all of the clothes that were here, and if you see me holding anything up, it's because my husband was right next to me, so I was asking his permission before I was getting rid of any of his things. But with all of my things, I was just as ruthless as possible and really cut down on what I was storing in this closet. Once I had gone through all of the coats and hoodies that were in here, I wanted to move on to this floor area. And as you can see, this is where we store our vacuum and our wagon, but it's also where I was keeping my steam mop, and I did end up moving that into my laundry closet, as well as a ton of things that I had just thrown in here and kind of forgotten about, or not really forgotten about, but I've just ignored. So I'm going to pull all of that out right now and start going through it. I'm going to throw out any trash or recycling, and just because I'm putting it into a bag doesn't mean it's not going to be recycled. It just means that is the easiest thing to do when I am filming, and then I can go through and sort through it all off camera. And then anything that I'm going to be keeping, I'm going to start making piles for where it belongs and where it needs to go, instead of me shoving it back into this coat closet. Moving up to this top shelf in the closet, and there were a bunch of random things that I had kind of just shoved up there, but mostly this is where I like to keep all of our hats and gloves and my huge stockpile of candles. So when you see me going through all of that, you will see that I do have a ton of candles, but I do use them and burn them often, so I'm not going to be decluttering too many of them. I'm more going to be focused on sorting through everything and finding a way better organization system for all of the items that I wanted to store on that top shelf. This is my huge bin of candles, and as you can see, things had just kind of gotten jumbled around and really chaotic in here. I thought that this was going to be a great way to store them originally, but it really wasn't. It's hard to find the things that I need, and some of them actually ended up getting damaged because of how they were kind of just thrown into that box. So I'm going to be completely getting rid of that box and instead working on organizing everything by categories and putting different types of candles into different bins so that I can easily see what I have and reach for the things that I want and keep everything that I'm not using in better condition. And all of the organization bins that you're going to see me use are things that I just found around my house that were not currently being used for anything. I didn't go out and make any purchases or spend any money for this project. I wanted to be as frugal as possible while still keeping things organized and functional. Just in case you guys are wondering where I did get these organization bins from, the wire mesh ones came from TJ Maxx like months and months ago on clearance, and then some of the other items came from the Target dollar spot, so unfortunately none of them can be linked. I'm just going to start breaking down some of these cardboard packages for recycling before I can move on to putting everything back up onto that top shelf in the coat closet, because this is going to finish out this project. I decided to line the back of the shelf with all of my larger jar candles, and then I will put all of the organization bins in front to kind of hide the clutter of the candles, but still make sure that I get everything up there that needed to be stored here. And then I'm going to show you guys all of the before and afters, and it is a complete transformation once again. Okay, now I'm going to roll all of the before and afters, show you guys everything that I decluttered, everything that was just in the wrong place, and all of the trash and recycling. And I am so happy to finally have this project done and over with and not have to worry about it anymore. I hope that you enjoyed doing it with me. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. Don't forget to check out Missy's channel and subscribe to her as well. And check out that link to my Poshmark in the description box in case you are interested in shopping any of my decluttered items. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you guys in the next one.